Okay, welcome everybody. Getting into the Baylor week for this Saturday noon. I guess it's the third noon game that we've had, so we should be accustomed to being able to play noon games. Got a big challenge in Baylor, as we all know. Got our third top 5 team in 7 games that we're fortunate to be able to play. And I've mentioned this a bunch, just as far as this being what Big 12 football is. We got more on the horizon. There's no difference in playing 3 of these top 5 teams and then turning around and playing, the next 3 opponents that we have being ranked as well. I think there's 6 top 15 teams or something that we're fortunate to be able to have on our schedule. It obviously makes West Virginia relevant in college football, and we're fortunate to be able to be here. But looking at Baylor, can't say enough about how much I guess respect that I have for where they're at as a program at this point in time. I've known Art for a long time, and he's been successful everywhere he's been. Can't say enough about their administration for what they've done over the last 7 years that he's been there. I prior to that, in my 8 years at Texas Tech, went against Baylor, and this is not the same Baylor that I went against there from 2000 to 2008. This deal's different. But they've done a great job with their facilities. They've done a great job. Everything on campus that they have is all brand new. It's tremendously helped their recruiting. You can tell that the type of athlete that they're putting out there, the type of O lineman and D lineman that they're putting out there is clearly different than what I've seen on their team in years past. They've won 21 out of 23 games, currently 6-0, and is playing very well on all 3 sides of the ball. Everybody wants to talk about Baylor and Coach Briles and their offense and their success, and they're scoring at a very high rate. They're scoring quickly. They're putting a ton of points on the board. Their offense is #1 in the country. The biggest thing that I see with their team is what they're doing defensively. That to me is the difference in what Baylor is now and what they've been the past couple of years since he's been there. Phil Bennett's a great defensive coordinator. Has been in this game for a long time. I've went against him a good bit. What I see right now with what he's got going at Baylor right now is what I saw in the early 2000s when he was at Kansas State, and Kansas State was making national championship runs. It's the same defense. They're aggressive. They're tough. They're physical. They're going to play man coverage. They're going to zero blitz you a bunch. They're going to put as much pressure on you as they can possibly put on you, and that's what I see with Baylor right now. They got, their D-line is as good of a D-line as we've seen. Their secondary is all new, but you can tell that they're great athletes. They run well. They got big play potential, and their linebackers are extremely active. Do a great job of adding on and getting to the quarterback, stopping the run. Don't do a ton of coverage stuff. They don't have to. Offensively, starts with their quarterback. Petty's a great player. Seems like he's been there for 6 years, 7 years, which I think he has. But he understands their system. He's got great experience. He's big, he's fast, he's strong, he's smart. Runs their offense the way it needs to be run. Got good physical line. I think they got 3 returning starters from last year, but those guys are big and they're physical and they're nasty. Do a great job in the run game. Do a great job in protecting as well. Probably as deep of a receiving core as I've seen in college football. We're able to develop some of their younger kids like the KD Cannon kid and the Hall kid that are true freshmen, able to develop those guys early in the year because they had so many injuries at receiver. I think three or four of their guys were out, and it didn't slow them down one bit. Got plenty of backs. Shock Linwood's, quality back, but you take him out, you put a couple of the other guys in there, and it doesn't miss a beat as well. So They're moving the ball, they're scoring, they're doing it quickly. Will be a challenge for us defensively. Special teams are solid, more solid than I feel like they've been in the past. Again, good return guys. They have overall great team speed. It goes back to recruiting. It goes back to player development. It goes back to doing the same thing for 7 years, and got great coverage units. And then obviously their kicker, had his best game of his career last week. Was 4 for 4 and had a game winner against TCU. What we did last week at Texas Tech, they did against Baylor. They were 21 points down and found a way to be able to come back, believes that they can win, and obviously at the end found a way to win. So be a big challenge. Glad to be at home. Need a home field advantage. Hopefully the student section will be packed. Hopefully the game is a sellout and everybody comes and they come early and they're loud and gives us a little bit of a bump, which we're desperately going to need. So with that, we'll take some questions.
You just mentioned the comebacks, Baylor and West Virginia. What are the characteristics teams have to be able to do that? Them versus the top 5 team, you guys on the road?
Just believing that you can win more than anything. You got to have kids that are experienced, that believe that they can win. You better have a tight team, that sticks together when they're down. They clearly have a tight team with all the games that they've been able to win. I can't say enough about our coaches and players. We had a great halftime. We were down, I think it was 21-10. We had a great halftime, made a lot of adjustments, motivated, challenged each other. Went out in the second half and kept coaching. Just kept coaching. The players kept allowing themselves to be coached. They kept going out there, kept playing. Nobody gave up. Everybody stuck together and found a way to win there in the end.
Do you find it strange to hear yourself speaking the words "run first" and do you recall saying those words before?
No, probably never said those before. It's just kind of what we've evolved into, which has been under my direction. Baylor's been a run first team forever. I mean, that's always the way that they've been. We've kind of transitioned a little bit more into that, than obviously we have been in the past. But when you have a physical O-line, our inside 3 are playing well. Obviously Glowinski in Spain, 5th-year seniors, big, powerful guys that can move people, and Orlowski with his development. Recruiting some pretty good running backs, getting guys in position to be able to do some good things when they get the ball in their hands. Clint's a knowledgeable guy that understands the run game, so we're just spending a little bit more time with it, and it's helping put us in position to be able to be successful for sure.
Should really come along maybe a little quicker than you anticipated. What are some of the adjustments that he's made stepping up to a higher level?
Yeah, I'm not prepared to say that he's got things figured out by any stretch of the imagination. He's got 1 sack in 6 games. He came here to sack the quarterback, and we've put him into a role where he needs to play more because of our lack of depth on the defensive line. We'll continue to coach him up. He'll continue to get better with more snaps. He's going to get better. To say he's got things figured out is a stretch. I mean, he needs to get to the quarterback more. He knows that. He needs to work hard on his technique and the motor that he needs to play with in order to get to the quarterback more often, which is going to help us win games.
And you said yesterday that this defense that you're running now is designed for this, is the way you put it. Is anything really designed for this, the way they play?
No, because nobody stopped them. Nobody stopped them. So yeah, the way they play is unconventional, to say the least. I mean, it's the way it is on both sides of the ball. I mean, they've transitioned what they're doing defensively to match what they're doing offensively, which is to take the air out of the defense and pressure and to junk up the box and to put a lot of people up in there to the point to where you either better score quick or people have a hard time sustaining drives on them because they put so many people up on the line of scrimmage. So they've changed it defensively to help attack what they do offensively, which is to get the ball a bunch and play fast and to put the ball in the perimeter a bunch, run the ball a bunch, and then go over the top a bunch.
What's a good defensive day against them? I mean, they average 52 points a game. If you
you got to have the mentality defensively, and we're developing this mentality defensively. It didn't exist when I came here because of the style of ball that was played in the Big East. The style of ball that's played in the Big 12, I was happy with our defense because they got stops when it counted. Okay, so we gave up 565 yards. Nobody's happy about that. But we got stops in certain points of the game that were very important, as in third down. We were 67% on third down. That's a winning percentage. Got 3 3-and-outs in the third and fourth quarter, and we held them to field goals twice in the red zone in the second half. I mean, the second half with how we played defensively was a winning performance. With that said, we gave up a couple of big plays and a lot of yards. You can't gauge defensive football, on yards per play, on total yards. It's about getting stops in key situations. So our job against Baylor, they're going to get yards, they're going to make plays, they're going to score points, but getting stops when it counts is how you got to gauge being able to be successful against them.
For you guys in the run game, having 2 guys go over 100, could you just talk about what that brings to this offense when it's not even just that you can run the ball, but that you have multiple guys who can do it?
Yeah, you got to keep guys fresh. Guys got to go in there and be fresh. Tech's plan was to take away Kevin and Mario. They put safeties over the top of them. I've been in that situation before in the past where, they put safeties over the top of receivers to where you have a favorable box to be able to run the ball and you can't. Now you're in trouble. Okay, so, we finally started getting some explosive plays in the run game, especially in the second half. In the first half, I probably got a little bit frustrated because we weren't getting explosive plays in the run game, but we were averaging 5-6 yards a carry, which is successful, and I got to be a little bit more patient with that. But, when you get that kind of coverage and take away the deep guys and you can't run the ball, you're in trouble. And we're in a situation now where we're able to be able to do that.
And what have you seen out of Smallwood? Obviously, in the spring, you guys were talking about him kind of being the replacement for Sims, being able to run it, being able to catch it. Are you happy with what you've seen out of him so far?
Yeah, I just haven't been happy with his big play ability. And he knows this, but he had his best week of practice last week, and he had his best game as a Mountaineer last week. So he needs to build on that, and he needs to continue to improve. He's a guy that has a burst. So when he gets, 4 or 5 yards and on that safety, he's a guy that can make that guy miss and burst. And then obviously he's versatile to the point where he can play him at receiver and catch seam routes and screens and all that. So he's getting better, and he needs to continue to improve.
You mentioned defensive line depth. Hyman and Christian Brown, what's their stat?
And we'll find out today.
Josh tweeted out a photo saying that you finally talked to him. What do you have to say to him?
Well, I mean, I hope everybody understands. That's just my subtle way of being fairly comical, which doesn't happen very often. He knows good and damn well that I appreciate what he does, and said the same thing to him before the kick, which was absolutely nothing. I don't coach him, and Coach DeForest is as good as anybody in the country at getting our specialists to be able to have the confidence to be able to go out there and make it. And so that's his job, and he does a great job with that. And then once the game was over, I put my arm around him just like I did probably, 69 other players, and congratulate him on a hard-fought victory. And thankful that he put everybody in a good mood. So.
Dana, you mentioned that you're expecting to give up the big yards against Baylor, but hoping the defense can get big stops. When they're giving up that many yards, how do you keep them mentally focused into the game and not get them down on themselves going up against this kind of offense?
You know, I point to last week in the end of the first quarter, second quarter. We gave up 3 straight touchdowns and gave up plays, and guys came to the sidelines. And years past, games past, they would have been done. They would have been done. So maturity is big. We got a lot of kids on defense that have played a lot of ball, and understand, you know, going into the third year into the Big 12, what these offenses are like. And Coach Gibson's done a great job of emphasizing key stops, 3 and outs. Believe it or not, we've been emphasizing turnovers, but that has rarely happened. But done a good job of emphasizing this to our guys understand what we're trying to accomplish on defense. You know, we're not going to suffocate teams like Baylor or Texas Tech or Oklahoma State or TCU, or the list goes on and on. You know, we're just not going to suffocate them. Nobody is. You know, but what you can do is you can keep playing defense, maintain a positive attitude, and get excited about key stops and being able to have key stops translate into winning games.
Through 6 games, I think only 3 points have come off the opening drive for opponent teams. Is that maybe one of the key situations that is lesser noticed to kind of set the tone for the game there, give your offense a shot to get the lead?
Probably so. Our second quarters haven't been as good, but we've emphasized starting fast. I mean, I think offensively we've done a good job for the most part of starting the game with successful drives and scoring points, and then the defense goes out there with a little bit of confidence and has done a good job of stopping them initially. So, you know, it's a start. You know, how you finish is more important. But you know, getting off to the right track and starting quick is something that we do emphasize. Yes.
People frequently talk to Jordan Thompson in terms of being a great practice player. Was the game you've been waiting for from him?
Yeah, the consistency on it. You know, he's made those plays in practice, and we've all seen it in spring games and all that. For him to make some of those catches, especially in the fourth quarter on those last couple of drives, was rewarding, to say the least. Yes, and was happy that he was able to be put in that situation and take advantage of it as well. And again, I'll mention this: when teams are taking away the outside guys, you know, DeKeel had a couple of big catches, and Jordan had some catches. Those inside receivers become pretty important as well.
Understanding that the experience and the I guess the veteran stuff you have in your defense, that's a big part of being better. But I think you said that it's built a way now defensively to handle it, which I mean maybe it was rebuilt in some regard. Like what's I guess different as far as the structuring, or that just makes you more confident right now than maybe last year?
Well, I mean, you know, being built it has something to do with recruiting as well. It's not just what I meant by that is where we're at as a defense. You know, I mean, the scheme, you can come up with a bunch of different schemes and all can stop a variety of offenses. You know, equipped more so as in depth, more so as in experience, more so as in athleticism. You know, to be able to have guys like Carl Joseph and KJ Dilling be the you know, covering up Drayvon Henry covering up inside receivers. Those are pretty good athletes that are corner type bodies to be able to cover inside receivers, much like DeKeel and Jordan are. And then have guys like Worley and Icky played another good game. Darryl was a little rusty, but will get better. You know, and Chestnut's playing well. Having those guys as corners, well, you can't just have 2 corners and then slugs on the inside. So what I meant by that is being able to be equipped to stop spread offenses, because you can play, you can cover better on the inside with those safety type bodies.
Yeah, you lost both the Oklahoma and Alabama, but what did those games do for you coming into, you know, this stretch of games now that you're playing the ranked teams?
Yeah, I mean, just by knowing we've played 2 of the best teams in the country. You know, who's next on the schedule? I mean, with all due respect to Baylor, I mean, and they're good. You know, they're really good. But we've been in this situation before. Not only have we been in this situation before this year, we have in years past as well. So it's just we're at a point in the Big 12 now where it doesn't faze us. That same situation at Texas Tech existed 2 years ago too, as we all know, and we didn't handle that situation very well.
Is the next step winning?
Well, there's no question. Yeah, there's the third top 5. Let's try winning one of these at some point. There's no question that's the goal, and that's what we're practicing for, and that's what we're trying to get our guys to understand is yes, we've competed and we've played and we've been in these games, but let's practice a little harder. Let's play a little better. Let's be a little bit more motivated to where when we have a chance to win a game like this in the fourth quarter, we need to win it. And I think we're getting better at that, and we're getting closer to being able to achieve that.
Kevin said a couple times that in regard to last year, he wasn't himself, and he doesn't know why, which is kind of mysterious. But when you look at that and you saw that guy play and see who he was now, but also you recruited him, Kevin
White.
Yeah, when you recruited him, you probably saw this at least. But I guess what happened last year that he wasn't himself like he is now.
I just think Kevin's improving. I think he's improving. I mean, he may think that the player that we see today was the player that he always was. The production won't support that. The production will not support that. So he continuously is getting better. I still think his best football is ahead of him. You know, this year I think it's ahead of him, and in years to come I think it's ahead of him.
Molinari, special teams champion of the week. What did he do to stand out last week for you guys?
Well, he held the ball. You know, I mean, Josh wouldn't have made it if the ball wasn't held appropriately.
He's done that a lot, though. So what was it
I
last
tell you
week?
what, yes, and I'm obviously kidding on that, but not really. I tell you, he's a senior. He's our best student athlete. He's got a great attitude. You know, he's a heck of a team leader and a heck of a football player. Those kickoffs were awesome. You know, you get swirling winds in Lubbock, and to be able to maintain focus on the kick shows a mentally tough person. To where we were a little worried about their kickoff returns. They had good skill back there, and for him to be able to boom those things in the end zone, I thought was awesome. You know, and then obviously just what he does for our overall team is incredibly important. And, you know, there's an element to Josh's comfort level with him that needs to exist in order for Josh to be able to do his job.
Dana, is Baylor's pass rush similar to Oklahoma's in the fact where you'll need to have some guys on the outside to extra guys to block some of those guys?
Yeah, at times, because they're going to zero blitz you. Oklahoma didn't zero blitz you. They just had 2 guys that just charged it upfield. Baylor's is different. They're one of the leaders in the country in sacks. I mean, and it's not just coming from the 6'9" guy. I mean, their inside guys rush, and it's the most complete rush that we've seen. Because, you know, not only you got 2 ends that rush, you got 2 thick inside guys that rush, and then they bring backers and stuff, you know, in the middle and through the B gaps, and they're going to do everything they can to be able to get to the quarterback.
You ever see a player like that 6'9" guy before?
We got one on our scout team at 6'9".
Yeah.
Not quite the player.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's impressive. I tell you what's impressive. He's tall, but he's extremely physical. I mean, how fast and twitchy can you be as a 6'9" guy? It's tough with pads on. But he is a physical dude. He is a physical dude.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
All right.